Welcome back to SeedSoilWater. My name is Brittany, and I am so delighted that you're here. We are working on breaking the habit of being our old selves so that we can create a new life that we love. And we are here on chapter 3, Overcoming Your Body. This is one of my favorite, I think the most valuable explanations of what happens internally when we have a trauma trigger moment. It's so helpful to understand the biological release that's happening so that we can in the future catch it ahead of time if we can and try and shut it down before it just throws the whole cycle into gear. So, if you are new here, I welcome you. Thanks for coming, and please save this playlist so that if you want to come back to it, you won't lose the channel. Subscribe if you'd like, share with a friend, comment below where you're tuning in from, and we are committing to this giving this our willful attention so that we can change our lives. So without further ado, let's get into it. Overcoming your body. You did not think in a vacuum. Every time you have a thought, there's a biochemical reaction in the brain. You actually make a chemical. What? As you'll learn, the brain then releases specific chemical signals to the body, where they then act as messengers of the thought. So when the body gets these chemical messages from the brain, it complies instantly by initiating a matching set of reactions directly in alignment with what the brain is thinking. Then the body immediately sends a confirming message back up to the brain that it's now feeling exactly the way the brain is thinking. It's like, we gotta panic, we're panicking. Fully initiated, stress hormones released, drowning in stress hormones, mission accomplished. To understand this process, how you typically think equal to your body, and how to form a new mind, you first need to appreciate the role that your brain and its chemistry plays in your life. In the last few decades, we've discovered that the brain and the rest of the body interact via powerful electrochemical signals. There is an extensive chemical factory between our ears that orchestrates a myriad of bodily functions. But relax, this is going to be Brain Chemistry 101, and a few terms are all that you need to know. So he's like, don't worry, we're not going into the full neuroscience of it all. All cells have receptor sites on their exterior surface that receive information from outside their boundaries. When there is a match in chemistry, frequency, and electrical charge between a receptor and site, and on an incoming signal from the outside, the cell gets turned on to perform certain tasks. Okay, let me make me smaller. So this is cell activities. This is a ligand, this is a cell, this is the nucleus, DNA is up in there, cell receptor site. A cell with receptor sites that receive vital incoming information from outside the cell. The signal can influence the cell to perform myriad of biological function. Neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, and hormones are the cause and effect chemicals for brain activity and bodily functioning. These three different types of chemicals called ligands, I think. The word ligare means to bind in Latin. So like they're the binders. These three different types of chemicals called ligands connect to and interact with or influence the cell in a matter of milliseconds. No pressure. Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that primarily send signals between nerve cells, allowing the brain and the nervous system to communicate. There are different types of neurotransmitters, and each is responsible for a particular activity. Some excite the brain, others slow it down, while still others make us sleepy or awake. They can tell a neuron to unhook from its current connection or make it stick better to its present connection. They can even change the message as it is being sent to a neuron, rewriting it so that a different message is delivered to all the connected nerve cells. What? Neuropeptides, the second type of ligand, I hope I'm saying that right, make up the majority of these messengers. Most are manufactured in a structure of the brain called the hypothalamus. Recent studies show that our immune system also makes them, the neuropeptides. Okay, these chemicals are passed through the pituitary gland, which then releases a chemical message to the body with specific instruction. Pituitary. No, that's not pineal. How do you say that word all of a sudden? I can't remember. Okay. As neuropeptides make their way through the bloodstream, they attach to the cells of various tissues, primarily glands, and then they turn on the third type of ligand, hormones, which further influence us to feel certain ways. Oh, don't they ever? Said every pregnant woman, holler from the back. Neuropeptides and hormones are the chemical responses for our feelings. Neuropeptides and hormones are the chemicals responsible for our feelings. Okay. For our purposes, think of neurotransmitters as chemical messengers primarily from the brain and mind, neuropeptides as chemical signalers that serve as a bridge between the brain and the body to make us feel the way we think, and hormones as the chemicals related to feelings primarily in the body. So neurotransmitters, they're the chemical messengers primarily from the brain and mind. The neuropeptides are the chemical signalers that serve as a bridge between the brain and the body to make us feel the way we think. And then hormones as the chemicals related to feelings primarily in the body. Okay. Here is the role of the ligands in the brain and the body. So there's the neurotransmitters in the brain. There's the neuropeptides, the hormone centers of the body. Pituitary gland, pineal gland. That's what I was thinking of. Thyroid gland, thymus gland, adrenal glands, digestive glands, sexual glands. And if you're a part of a certain place, you would call those the chakras. But if you're not a part of that certain belief system, then you're told that's evil. But look at science, okay? Neurotransmitters are, so it's not evil, that's what I'm saying, by the way. Neurotransmitters are diverse chemical messengers between neurons. Neuropeptides are chemical couriers that signal different glands of the body to make hormones. For example, when you have a sexual fantasy, all three of these factors are called to action. First, as you start to think a few thoughts, your brain whips up some neurotransmitters that turn on a network of neurons, which creates pictures in your mind. These chemicals then stimulate the release of specific neuropeptides into your bloodstream. Once they reach your sexual glands, those peptides bind to the cells of those tissues. They turn on your hormonal system, and presto, things start happening. You've made your fantasy thoughts so real in your mind that your body starts to get prepared for an actual you-know-what experience ahead of the event. That's how powerfully mind and body are related. By the same means, if you start to think about confronting your teenager over the new dent in the car, your neurotransmitters would start this thought process in your brain to produce a specific level of mind, and your neuropeptides would chemically signal your body in a specific way, and you would begin to feel a bit riled up. As the peptides find their way to your adrenal glands, they would then be prompted to release the hormones adrenaline and cortisol, and now you are definitely feeling fired up. Chemically, your body is ready for battle. The thinking and feeling loop. The thinking and feeling loop. As you think different thoughts, your brain circuits fire in corresponding sequences, patterns, and combinations, which then produce levels of mind equal to those thoughts. Once these specific networks of neurons are activated, the brain produces specific chemicals with the exact signature to match those thoughts so that you can feel the way you were just thinking. Therefore, when you have great thoughts or loving thoughts or joyous thoughts, you produce chemicals that make you feel great or joyful or loving. The same holds true that if you have negative, fearful, or impatient thoughts, in a matter of seconds, you begin to feel the negative or anxious or impatient thoughts. You feel all those feelings. There's a certain synchronicity that takes place moment by moment between the brain and the body. In fact, as we begin to feel the way we are thinking, because the brain is in constant communication with the body, we begin to think the way we are feeling. The brain constantly monitors the way the body is feeling based on the chemical feedback it receives. It will generate more thoughts and produce chemicals corresponding to the way the body is feeling, so that we first begin to feel the way we think and then to think the way we feel. Okay, we all get that. Thoughts of the brain plus feelings of the body equals our state of being. The neurochemical relationship between the brain and the body. As you think certain thoughts, the brain produces chemicals that cause you to feel exactly the way you were thinking. Once you feel the way you think, you begin to think the way you feel. The continuous cycle creates a feedback loop called the state of being. We will delve deeper into this idea throughout the book, but consider that thoughts are primarily related to the mind and the brain. and feelings are connected to the body. Therefore, as the feelings of the body align to thoughts from a particular state of mind, mind and body are now working together as one. And as you'll recall, when the mind and body are in unison, the end product is called a state of being. We could also say that the process of continuously thinking and feeling and thinking creates a state of being, which produces effects on our reality. A state of being means we have become familiar with a mental, emotional state, a way of thinking, and a way of feeling, which has become an integral part of our self-identity. So we describe who we are by how we are thinking and thus feeling or being in the present moment. I am angry, I am suffering, I am inspired, I am insecure, I am negative, I am positive, I am hopeful, I am happy, I am ambitious, I am at peace, I have shalom. But years of thinking certain thoughts and then feeling the same way, and then thinking equal to those feelings, the hamster in the wheel, creates a memorized state of being in which we can emphatically declare our I am statements as an absolute. That means we're now at the point when we define ourselves as this state of being. Our thoughts and feelings have merged. For example, we can say, I don't really want to say all these things out loud because I can't freaking claim none of that. Yeah. But we'll say things like, I'm always winning. And I always have this deep-seated peace within me. And I'm really confident in myself. I'm just turning everything that he wrote and I'm flipping it. I know about how valuable I am and how worthy I am to receive all of my heart's desires, and that life is always working things out for me behind the scenes. I'm so grateful that I have a hold of my temper and that I have actually evolved into a very patient person. I love that I am able to tap into my intelligence and so on. And those particular memorized feelings contribute to all of our personality traits. When feelings become the means of thinking, or if we cannot think greater than how we feel, we don't change. That's really big to know. To change is to think greater than how we feel. To change is to act greater than the familiar feelings of the memorized self. As a practical example, let's say you're driving to work this morning and you begin to think about the heated encounter you had a few days ago with a coworker. So then you start feeling all the chemicals that circulate through your body. Now you're feeling what you were thinking. Okay, so it's like now your body sends a message to your brain. It's like, yep, I'm feeling really ticked off, man. Of course, your brain, which constantly communicates with the body and monitors its internal chemical order, is influenced by the sudden change in the way you're feeling. As a result, you begin to think differently. The moment you begin to feel the way you think the way you feel, you unconsciously reinforce that same feeling by continuing to think angry and frustrated thoughts, which then make you feel more angry and frustrated. In effect, your feelings are now controlling your thinking and your body is now driving your mind. As the cycle goes on, your angry thoughts produce more chemical signals to your body, which activate the adrenal chemicals associated with angry feelings. Now you become enraged and aggressive. You feel flushed. Your stomach is in a knot. Your head is pounding and your muscles are clenching. You got all tense, as all those heightened feelings flood the body and change its physiology. This chemical cocktail fires up a set of circuits in the brain, causing you to think equal to those emotions. Now you're telling your associate off 10 different ways in the privacy of your own mind. You indignantly conjure up a litany of past events that validate your present upset, brainstorming through a letter recounting all those complaints you've always wanted to lodge. In your mind, you've already forwarded it to your boss, you're arriving to work, you exit the car dazed and crazed and a breath away from homicidal, talking model of an angry person. And all of this started with a single thought. In this moment, it seems impossible to think greater than how you feel. And that's why it's so hard to change. The result of this cyclic communication between your brain and body is that you tend to react predictably to these kinds of situations. You create patterns of the same familiar thoughts and feelings. You unconsciously behave in automatic ways, and you are mired in these routines. This is how the chemical you functions. That's a lot, but we're here. There's hope. We're going to learn. We're all committed to this journey together. Save the playlist, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. I'm here for it below. share with a friend. Definitely save the playlist so that you can always find it in case you forget the name of the channel, which is Seed Soil Water. Go to seedsoilwater.today to see what we're all up to, and be blessed, be well, be free.